It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to demonstrate. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, serves under the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. The Veterans Memorial concept came from the late George Neeland, a Navy veteran of World War II and longtime Gahanna resident. He envisioned a memorial that honored all veterans, living and deceased, who had served their country, not just those who served in a foreign war, and to serve as a reminder of how both the military and the individual veteran contributed to the fabric from which the history of our nation is tailored.
In 1997, I was president of Gahanna City Council, and my father came to a meeting which happened to be the last meeting of the year, and that would have been the end of the month of December 1997. And at that meeting, he came in and came before council under hearing of visitors, which was somewhat of a surprise to me because I knew he had been talking about a memorial and such for a number of months, but really didn't have a solid plan. And he came before council and spoke before all of council and the mayor and made a statement that he wanted to create a Veterans Memorial Park in Gahanna that would be to serve and honor and recognize all veterans, whether they're living or dead, whatever the case may be, and that they did not have to serve overseas. At that same meeting, which again was really pretty thrilling because it's not very often that you not only get to be president of council but also have your father come in and ask a question like that to get the city to support something of that nature. But during that same meeting, Bruce Lucia, who happened to be the president of Kroger's at the time, stood right up and said, "I'll be the first one to commit $1,000 to this project," which was just an awesome sight.
Volunteer Gahanna residents formed the memorial committee and in conjunction with local architect George Parker designed the memorial. Most of the initial work done on the memorial came from committee members and volunteers. They performed such tasks as initial surveying, grading, staking, constructing, bricklaying, and general maintenance. Materials, labor, and money were also donated by various businesses. Groundbreaking was on July 4th, 1998.
The committee started in 1998, and at the beginning our main focus was just getting the construction problems dealt with and getting the actual construction of the memorial done. The memorial was dedicated in May of 2000, and after that our main focus has been to take care of setting up the 2 brick dedications that we have every year and making sure that we have speakers and people to participate in them. We also have done maintenance on the memorial as far as landscaping and mulching, and we've been lucky because of the variety of backgrounds of all the committee members. We were basically able to do all of the work just from the committee members that we had. We really didn't have to go outside of our committee to get anything done. Right now we are just dealing with getting the dedications done, and we try to make those diverse and exciting so that they aren't the same every time, and we've tried to include all different aspects and entities of military veterans and also women and children.
The Veterans Memorial Committee has played a very important role for the city of Gahanna to make sure that we have very wonderful celebration, remembrances of our veterans in the community, particularly for Veterans Day and Memorial Day. They have incorporated many veterans from many different wars, active duty personnel, students from the elementary schools, and have done a wonderful job in involving people from all the way everywhere in our community, in all walks of life in our community, to involve them in remembrances for our veterans.
The Veterans Memorial is about 1,400 square feet, and the walkway contains approximately 10,000 brick pavers. The center of the memorial features a 14-foot, 5-sided black granite monolith on top of a raised 5-sided concrete platform. Flags from each branch of the military fly from 5 separate poles surrounding the monolith. The United States of America flag, Ohio flag, and MIA flag fly from poles at either end of the memorial walkway. The memorial also has 4 granite benches and a granite structure that houses a time capsule.
The memorial is today in the old Discovery Park location at 62 and Big Walnut Creek. There were several other locations that were identified as potential possibilities, but because it had the most centralized location accessible to the majority of folks in the city of Gahanna, my dad was able to work with the city officials, specifically the Parks and Rec folks and the mayor's office, to come to an agreement that that would be the appropriate place for that. And the mayor at the time, Mayor Jim McGregor, was very supportive of that idea. So once they determined that, then they pretty much had that set.
Well, each park has its unique amenities. However, I believe that each community in Central Ohio, the state of Ohio, across the country, should have some type of way to memorialize its veterans, its folks who have served in the military, in the armed forces. And the Memorial Park here in Gahanna is our way of doing that in Gahanna. It's truly a wonderful place that people can go to pay special tribute to those who have served in the military and those who have served in times of war. And there's no other place in Gahanna, and for my opinion, no other place in Central Ohio that's as wonderful as our park.
The 14-foot, 5-sided monolith is made from the same black granite used in the construction of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. The granite was mined in South Africa and came to the United States by ship through the St. Lawrence Seaway into Canada, then Minnesota, before coming to Ohio. Bronze service medallions for each branch of the military are attached to each side of the monolith, which is topped with an eternal flame. Granite panels from the recently remodeled Veterans Memorial Auditorium on Broad Street in Columbus, Ohio, were donated, reworked, and used to make the structure that contains the time capsule and the 4 benches. Each of the benches is inscribed with a sentence from a phrase that in total reads, "Dedicated to the men and women who served, who gave their full measure for God and country, to preserve freedom and liberty for us all. Through us, they will live forever and never be forgotten." The contents of the time capsule were gathered from local schools, service organizations, residents, and committee members. The enclosure with the time capsule sealed inside was dedicated on Veterans Day 2000 and is to be opened on Veterans Day of 2050. The first brick dedication took place on Veterans Day 1998. At that time, 450 bricks engraved with the names of veterans were placed in the memorial walkway. Brick dedications are held each year on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. A completed memorial was dedicated Memorial Day 2000. As of Veterans Day 2005, there were approximately 1,869 bricks engraved with the names of past and present veterans. there are 3 bricks with the names of Revolutionary War veterans and 4 with the names of veterans from the Civil War. On her amber waves of grain, across her purple mountains, and on her fruited plains, in the stillness of her shining sea, we will rest your legacy. And at each waking moment, by the dawn's early light, we will remember the reason you died. And we will always marvel at the courage you've shown. You've risen with the fallen, and now we know that we still have heroes with patriot pride. For the cause of freedom, they'd lay down their lives. The land of the free is our anthem today, because we still have heroes in the home of the brave. There's a comfort through the pain, knowing that our loss is still our greatest gain. Our defender of this liberty, you're the reason we can sing, oh beautiful for heroes proven in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. And that's the kind of love you've shown. Yes, that's your legacy. We will not forget you. You've led us to believe that we still have heroes.
Well, from a personal impact perspective, my father was a very dedicated veteran who, every time he talked about the veterans during World War II, he was in the Navy and was stationed at Pearl Harbor. So he had a lot of history with the folks that lost their lives at Pearl Harbor. And I know that it brought tears to his eyes a lot of times just talking about it. But myself, I also was in the service. I was in the Army, though, however, and I, from personally experiencing the service and not having to serve overseas like my father did, I felt very, very touched and impacted by his motivation to want to get this memorial off the ground, and just the fever that he had to do this and the desire and drive was just unbelievable. But personal impact was, I really, really appreciated my dad's efforts, and I think that he'll be remembered for a long time for it.
Coming from a family of veterans, I've been involved with this memorial program and service for the 6 years that I've been here. I've not missed one memorial. And being from a family of veterans, my grandfather served in 3 wars, my mother retired military. It's a special meaning to me to be there, because not only am I honoring those veterans that are from this area and that are being recognized at that particular event, but every time I'm there, in my head and in my heart is my grandfather, my mother, my family members who have dedicated their time.
My father served in World War II on Iwo Jima. My father-in-law was stationed at Pearl Harbor, and my husband and my son-in-law are both veterans. I come by the memorial every night on my way home from work, and I always look over there, and I'm proud that I was able to be a part of the memorial and the whole process in getting it built. It obviously holds a special place in my heart because my father-in-law is the one that started it, and it's something that I've put a lot of time into, but I know it's something that it's going to be there for a long time, and people are never going to forget what veterans have done for us.
For me, it is personal because there are bricks there at the memorial for 3 generations of my own family. My mother's brother was killed in St. Lo, France during World War II. He was 19 years old, and there's a brick remembering him. There's a brick remembering my father and my husband's father, and then there's also a brick remembering my grandfather, who served in World War I and was gassed in the trenches in France. So it's been very personal to have members of my own family recognized, and a nice place here locally here in Gahanna where I can go and remember them and think about them. So it is very personal to me as well.
The personal impact the memorial has on me is it's by the community, for the community. It's not always by the veterans organizations, the VFW, the American Legion, and so on. It's by all the citizens and showing their appreciation. And, this is what, to me, America was built on. the contribution to the veterans, war veterans, non-war veterans, whatever, the sacrifice these guys gave to the United States as a whole.